You're on. Okay. Good morning. It's Monday, May 3rd. Tufton Borough Board of Selectmen's meeting. Let's begin with a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any public input?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Morning.
Good morning.
Two things. First of all, I'd like to ask the selectmen to appoint Kristen Clark, that's Kristen Clark, to be a alternate trustee for the library. She's come forward, thankfully, to fill that role. And you can do that at your earliest convenience, please. And the second thing is, I understand, of course, that the selectmen have gone forth for updated pricing for the police station. And I'm just curious, A, how that's going, and B, are you going to be announcing any updated pricing before the meeting? 2 weeks from now?
So here's what I know at this point. They're still working on pricing. I saw some correspondence back and forth last week about that, given the delays with the grant agency's approval, that having a firm bid for town meeting doesn't look like it's going to happen, but we will have a maximum price to adjust our articles to.
Okay,
And that the bid price will be within that.
okay, that was my primary question, if you are prepared to amend the warrant
Yes.
to reflect 200%.
The best information available at town meeting is what we will amend it to, or that's my intent.
But that number will not be ready until town meeting.
The week before town meeting.
Okay.
So,
Which is next week.
which is next week. Right.
It might be nice if it's possible to get that out to people before they get to the meeting. So
Mhm.
Obviously, I think there's going to be a certain amount of sticker shock, and it's nice to have people be prepared for that rather than have it hit them that morning. That's all I have.
Okay. So if you could send a memo or whatever requesting appointment of Kristen
Okay.
as an alternate, then Kathy could go ahead and do up the paperwork and we can
I will do
just.
that this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anything else?
I didn't know if you noticed, but on his question about, did you see that the grant woman sent us an update on the amount of money that's going to be available to us?
Yes, yes. So, and we don't know exactly what it will be at this point. We had anticipated a grant of $250,000, and we had correspondence back from here last week that indicated that it will be around $360,000. So.
That's a little good news.
Yeah, absolutely. So another 100,000 plus over what they originally said that they would do.
Good, thank you.
We don't have a final number on that yet, but that's where she was going forward toward.
Thinking about the town meeting and just conversationally, if we're within $300,000 of where we need to be, either on the bond or the cash price, we may want to re-enliven the third article, which asks for a $300,000 contribution to the capital reserve to bridge that gap.
Mhm.
So I think next week's math will be a little more interesting. Maybe we should limit our appointments to accommodate for that.
Yep.
All set?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's move on to approval of minutes from last Monday's meeting. There's one change that I would suggest at the top of page 3. Second sentence reads, the state police also responded to the call and taken over the case as they accosted the suspect. I would suggest that apprehended might be a better word. I didn't get the idea from Chief's
Yeah.
report that there was, there was any.
No scuffle or anything?
Right.
Right, okay. Also, I saw on the third paragraph, I'm assuming that's supposed to be $32,628.85. I'm asking because I wasn't here.
Yes.
Okay,
Or comma.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, and maybe he did repeat himself, it looks like, under police department, it says some online training began April 1st, which more to be announced.
With more, right? Yeah. Instead of which.
Oh, okay, is that what it's, okay, with
Yep.
more to be announced, okay, and then, it says Chief Shigori reported a new administrative assistant was hired. She mentioned that after the police department on page 2, but then she also mentioned it on page 3, but maybe that's how Chief Shigori did it twice. I don't want to assume, I'm asking. It's on page 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think we can
Eliminate.
eliminate the second
The second one?
one.
Okay.
Take that whole sentence out, yeah, or so 2 sentences, it's a repeat. Thank you, yeah. All right.
I'll move that we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Mr. Parsons, come on down.
49 building permits, 9 new homes. I've done 158 inspections. The windows for the second floor had a cupola are actually in the basement and a trash room, so those are there, ready to go in. I received a call from someone on Lamprey Lane, and it's a giant hole in the culvert in the road above the side of the basketball. It's all rotted out down in front of LG's barn. So that needs to be addressed. I was called this morning. And I've been in touch with the straws up on Mountain Road, and some of the things are going away. I haven't been up there today, but a couple of things were sold supposedly over the weekend. Those are gone. He's going to start working on some more, he told me, so.
Good.
So, is this an appropriate time to discuss activities at 19 Mile Beach?
It's perfect time.
Would you care to enlighten the public?
I went by on Wednesday or Thursday, let's say, I don't know what day it was, I think it was Thursday. And there happened to be a truck in the middle of the grass there by the beach, so I was on legal inspection, couldn't stop. The police went and looked about it, and it was people volunteering to clean up the beach, so that was fine. And then on the way back to the office, I went by, and there was a gentleman there with a backhoe, and he was digging out some stumps and stuff next to the beach, which cannot be done. So he stopped me. He stopped when I talked to him about it, and he said that the Parks and Rec director said that he could do this, and it was all set. So I just think it needs to be addressed, what can be done down there, what can't. Stuff like that requires a permit from the state, so.
Yeah. So,
We don't want to be in violation of state law.
Right.
anything in the shorefront zone,
Right.
you can't just go in and alter the terrain or the vegetation or
Right. And
anything
also, I
like
was
that.
approached by an electrician about doing a bunch of wiring and lighting down there too, which I wasn't aware of, but I believe it hasn't been done yet, so I just questioned him about that, so.
Yeah, the wiring is less of a concern, I think.
Right.
I think maybe a meeting or an attendance by Dennis with the Conservation Commission might be helpful, just so he can kind of get his feet on the ground as far as limitations or.
Right. I mean, the
Well, I'm
conservation
thinking,
does the wetlands, they don't really do the shoreline, so they don't really have much knowledge of the shoreline environment, so.
you know, any modifications, maintenance to the landscape or even the structures down there, it would be just advisable to check with Jack. It could save a lot of hassle. It's not complicated. Jack knows what to do. Just, he won't make a mistake, that's all, if he checks with
Right.
Jack. We need to kind of really reinforce that, and I'm gonna be at the next meeting. If we haven't talked to him by then, I will,
Okay.
and try to kind of bring him into line, because we don't need to be violating state law,
Right,
that's
so
for
he's
sure.
driving by and calling someone else, and this is what's going on here and all that, so.
Yeah.
Try to.
Well, yeah.
We need to make sure that the town adheres to the letter as well as the spirit of the,
Right?
of the
Well,
law and
things are showing
regulation.
in wetlands and showing in town.
So- So was there any work done that needs to be repaired down there?
No, I think I caught them in the beginning, they had taken a couple more stumps out, so, and they had packed it back down and left it, and the stuff that they pulled out is sitting down there, so that's gonna need to be cleaned up, but cutting brush and all that is fine, as long as you leave the root bed and tap, the state's okay with that.
Well, you know, one of the things with cutting brush that we always have to be concerned about or aware of is if you cut it back too much,
Right.
then it's gone. Then all you have is the stump
Yeah.
that's left, and the brush does more to
Right.
benefit the environment than just having the stump in there. So
Yeah.
it's
Should be
it's
grown.
great.
Yeah.
It's great to say, yeah, we want to clean this up a little bit, but
Yeah,
And anytime when
you're
you're-
gonna extend the beach all the way down to the river inlet, which I informed them that
Mhm.
really can't be done, so. And they were fine, they were a little upset because they were told that they could do this. And I told them otherwise, so.
well, and yeah, any alteration down there
Right.
got to be permitted.
Yep.
Just like we did when we
Did the beach originally.
did the beach originally, and 2 years ago when we did the upgrade down there, put the new
Right.
wall in and new plantings and that sort of thing.
And at the end, over where the docks are stacked now, there's actually a small garden there, rain garden type thing, which is not really delineated very well. People seem to drive through it to get on the beach, so I think we gotta put some stakes or something down and just delineate that, so.
I know there were some delineator posts or something up last year down in that area.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're still there or not.
So,
I know there was on the other side of the driveway, which they might have got plowed out. I think they were just wooden at
Yeah.
the time, but I think we just need to put something there. I can talk to the road agent and see if they have anything, maybe they can throw a couple stakes in it.
Would be good.
Move the turkey from driving through it.
yeah,
So when you're talking to the road agent, maybe you could get together a schedule that he's putting in the swim lines at some point in time.
Are they putting them in this year, the docks and all that? They didn't put them in last year, so.
I got an email, I was CC'd on an email from Dennis to the road agent, which I will forward to Guy, so he can talk to him about work that he wanted done down there at the beach.
Okay? Good.
I just saw it this morning, so I didn't do much with it, but I'll
No
forward
problem.
it to you.
Yep.
And the rest of you, if you want, that he wanted the road agent to put in the swim lines and a number of other things. So that might be something you might want to look at and make sure he's not doing something that isn't allowed. I can forward it to
Mhm.
Jack too if you want.
Yeah, there was also the swim line at 20 Mile Bay.
Yeah, he mentioned Melvin Beach, 20 Mile Bay, and 19.
Well, 20 Mile Bay, doesn't the people on Curlew Shores put that in?
yeah,
They're aging
the
out.
town's taken that over
Okay.
as the
All right.
as the keepers are getting up in age,
Right, it's a state beach, I know the town, but that's swim on a state beach, that's my concern, that's all.
I don't know if we had a discussion with the state, they want to take responsibility for
Right.
it. And they issued the permit for the swim lane, so.
Okay,
Good.
Anything else for Jack?
that's all I have.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Jack. Good morning, Chris. Come down. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Thank you.
Things are going pretty well, as far as I can tell. I just wanted you guys a schedule of how things have been moving as far as shipments and things up at the petrol station. It's been a busy month. As far as movements, solid waste, we moved all the containers. Construction debris, we moved 15. 3 commingled plastic containers. We moved the steel container. We moved the scrap metal container. We moved the small scrap metal container. We moved another shipment of propane
So
and Freon.
the last year totals that you've got here, you verified those? Because I mean, you've gone from
That was
29 or 10 tons last year to 29 in solid waste and 6 in C&D to 27.
that's, I can't verify those. I need to go back and check those. But these are, I can tell you that these numbers I'm giving you are accurate for me.
Or
The current year is accurate,
Correct.
yeah, but last year's history may be suspect.
Right. Because I have nothing to do with those numbers.
yeah, I mean, it's like 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. The next page is cardboard. Since I've been here, since the beginning of March, we've done 17,000 pounds of cardboard. Almost 18,000. And I've already shipped out 1 truckload. Just basically the first week I was here, we shipped out 47,000 pounds of cardboard. So we've already shipped out 1 truckload and sent baled 17,000, almost 18,000. So we're recycling a ton of cardboard. And since
So how many bales in a shipment?
47, we've baled 19 so far,
And
since the beginning of March.
so it's about 8 tons that you've gotten rid of.
And we've baled since basically since February 1st, we've baled almost 6,600 pounds of aluminum.
A lot more online buying and things going now.
Correct.
So you got,
And we haven't opened up the camps yet.
right.
And the restaurants, we don't have many, and the stores aren't really busy yet. But once the summer's hit, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think part-timers, the budget might go up a bit for part-time. because it's getting very, very busy on the weekends. Weekdays, we're able to keep up with it. Weekends are just getting very busy, and I don't want to pull the fire off too early, but Sundays especially, before people are trying to go home, it's very, very busy. So I'm not going to panic early, but we're just nice to make people aware that they could get dicey towards the end of the budget cycle for part-time help. As far as waste recycling, hazardous waste recycling, we've gotten the schedule for the meetings for the next 4 weeks. I've been in touch with the coordinator, and we're all set for having those meetings, so that's on my schedule for the next 4 weeks. The evening, we'll be coordinating for those. Because we're those.
I know that in the past, we've gotten monthly revenue reports, and I'd be just as happy to get quarterly, but you got 3¼ tons of aluminum that had to have generated some revenue. I don't know if the cardboard must generate a little bit of revenue.
Yeah, I had $2,140 for the cardboard and $606 for the metal and plastic. Total here. Plastic cost us like $135.
So at any rate,
Metal, I think we got $235 for it, possibly.
at any rate, I think I'd like to ask, and my fellow selectmen can decide whether they'd like me to ask or not, but at your June meeting with us, if you can create a revenue sheet for the year, that'd be great. And it doesn't have to follow the model that was used. It can be a model that you feel comfortable with, or you think is more explanatory for us. And then we can check it against, because we'll get the revenue figures, excuse me, from Diane to look at, and that'll give us a half-year picture of where we're at.
Sure.
And I'm sure that
That helps us, but it also, I think, encourages recycling when people understand that we are actually getting some money out of it.
Reinvested, sure.
So, I mean, you got two pieces. One is you got any revenue that's coming in. The other thing is, for every pound of material that we divert from the regular solid waste stream, that's a cost that we avoid as well. And both of those work together to the benefit of the town of
So when you
Hackensack.
get your tonnage figures for all your recyclables, make sure to give us an avoided cost factor. So if you recycle 10 tons and the average cost of disposal is, I don't know, $100, then you save $1,000.
Yeah,
And I'm sure that Coca-Cola is going to be shipping you a specific container to take in their bottles, their plastic bottles, so they can be 100% recycled. Even though in the past, that's been just a shell game to make the people take the blame for not recycling.
Sure. Yeah.
The laboratory wise in their
yeah.
the meetings of it.
Yes. We've called waste management and they delivered us 3 extra CD containers and delivered us an extra municipal solid waste container so that we can have them on site. Because we've been, they've been picking up 40 containers a week. We need them to pick up 60 containers a week. So.
Yeah, that's what, by the amounts that you're talking about here.
Now we're on track.
And can you move the containers yourself?
We can.
Okay.
With a little bit of difficulty, we've been using backhoe, but we've been able to manage. So
It's not perfect, but
it's not perfect, but we've been able to manage.
And I realize it's early on, and we aren't gonna get into budgets until next fall, but you should review your CIP, see where you're at on your equipment, because I think, my recollection is there's a piece of equipment that gets replaced either this year or next year.
Yeah, you look at that, it had been put off for some time. I think until 2027 actually, but we need to look at that.
Yeah, and if there's some, I mean, if the quantities are changing, maybe the equipment that you replace needs to be a different category or a different, configuration.
yeah, I think that's a good point. If you take a look at this last year's CIP report, you'll see what we had in as future projects for the transfer station. At least knowing what was envisioned at that point and starting thinking about, are those appropriate things? Is there something different that we would want to do instead? I want to circle back to a couple of things you mentioned last month.
Sure.
One was water quality, and you had talked with somebody about that.
I have the water test in, we've done the test. It's in, it's being analyzed, I'm just waiting for the results to come back. So that's the test, this machine here, the safety net 410 wall-mounted device. Gas monitoring system is 2,900 and some change per day for the tech to come up and work on. So with travel time, door to door, and the testing, it's about $9,000 to have them come up and look at this.
To test the water?
No, to test, this is for the gas system. The
Yeah.
water test is being done. So I'm just waiting for the results.
So this is
The water test is $150, and that's in the queue.
the gas,
The gas systems that we talked about is 9,000.
and you're talking about the gas that's coming out of the former landfill?
This is a building. This is, it's a free gas testing system. It tests, the ground gases and the building gases and, water, the underground water gases.
It's monitoring the outgassing from the capped landfill, correct?
And building gases, the air quality in the building. Anything poison that's in the air.
And it's not functioning.
It wasn't, I was told it wasn't functioning. So it needs to be tested. So I checked out the cost of having the techs come out and test it. And before the parts or anything, it was $9,000. So
$9,000 test equipment that we have? Or?
equipment that we have,
Okay.
right? Over 2,000 for me to pull it off the wall myself, which I don't know how to do, and send it in before parts.
Okay, so after having spent $9,000, we don't know whether or not we have to replace the equipment or not?
Correct.
And how much is the replacement cost?
We didn't get into that price,
Okay.
because we don't even know. So,
Well, I think that's an important piece.
Yeah.
right,
Because if the replacements cost us $30,000 and it's gonna cost us $9,000 to test it, are we better off spending the $21,000 difference on replacement
right,
and just avoiding, or are we gonna spend $9,000 to find out it's faulty and then another 30, and now we spend 39?
right. So I played around with it, replaced the fuses, and flipped it on, it worked.
Yeah.
So when I go in, I flip it on, and it comes on. So all lights work, it comes on,
But we don't know if it's monitoring properly.
so goes through its test cycle, and it comes on.
All right.
So we need to do a little further investigation, so
So
it seems to be working.
seems to be working.
Okay.
The outline receivers come up with their, 0.00 percentage. The actual monitoring box comes up, 0 percentages, after it goes through its testing cycle. It seems to be working.
Okay, and it sounds like the system has a self-test that it runs,
Seems to be, yeah.
so I guess my view, anything we can do to improve our confidence that it's operating properly would be a good thing.
So I just had to research a little bit more, see if there's any type of a fault I can put it through to see if it's,
So let me just get clarity on this. The $9,000 figure is to verify that the equipment is not only operating, it is actually testing at the limits that it's set for.
correct. That $9,000 fee is the 2 days traffic tech come here from Massachusetts,
Right.
2 days travel and testing. Before anything's wrong with it and parts to fix it.
Mhm.
Okay, so they'd issue a report at the end of that point in time,
Correct.
telling us either what we had to replace or maybe they could fix it on site. It just seems like an awful lot of money for a
Okay,
tech.
that's what I said.
Yeah,
That's door to door, 2 days for a tech.
Yeah, I realize, but I've gone to Massachusetts before in my life, and it's not that long a trip.
Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah.
But there,
it can be when you're on the clock, though.
yeah,
Now, would,
yeah. And when you're a scientist, I guess it's more expensive.
Yeah, I guess I'd want a little more description of what it is they're gonna do. And that.
But it's only 2,500 if I take it off the wall, 4 screws and run with the wires and send it in.
So that's just testing whether or not the mechanism is operable,
On their table.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
So-
not telling us whether or not there's some problem between
so,
the sensor and the device.
right,
But I don't
and I think what we
understand
have here is we have a device and we have a bunch of sensors.
Right,
And if the sensors are all working right and the box is working right, then you're getting good information. If the sensors are working okay and the box isn't, then you're not getting good information.
right,
If the box is working right and the sensors aren't, then you're not getting good information.
right.
So,
would Stantec have some kind of meter to check the air so that you could at least see if it's working? I mean,
that would be another approach to getting comfortable with what we have. In other words, a portable unit that somebody could come in and monitor whatever we're monitoring with this bring it in, stick it in wherever we're reading the gas now and go from there. So,
I mean,
So if-
I don't know what Stantec does.
Let's put a scenario together. Let's say there's some sort of excessive amount of methane that's coming out of the landfill. What happens at that box? Does an
This-
alarm go off?
This has two receivers in it, both in the building.
A receiver being, that's the air we're testing?
Right, right.
so we're not testing in the,
Both of these receivers are in the building. So
And
the only landfill gas that this is receiving is gas. If it's coming from the landfill, it's coming from the landfill, not coming into the building.
so,
well,
Sand
and I know that Fire and Rescue has sniffers that they can use to
Check gas.
to check gases when they go into buildings. So maybe
Talk that, sure.
having one of our guys come up with their equipment. I don't know what gas we're monitoring here,
Yeah.
what kinds of problems there might be, but,
And when did this, I'm gonna ask, it's a rhetorical question, because I'm sure you don't have the answer, but when did it start and why did we end up putting it in? I mean, was there a problem that existed that reared its ugly head?
Since I started putting in the building.
I mean, I don't know, does DES have some sort of regulation that work environment has to have a certain testing version?
Can you answer that question?
I have another question. Does air quality in the building fall under the auspices of the Joint Loss Safety Committee when they go around doing inspections and things? I don't know.
I don't ever remember reading or hearing of it.
I don't either, but maybe, but should it? I just
I
don't
think
know.
that it's probably something about OSHA we can do, but.
Yeah.
so, and that'll
I mean, no, I mean, that would only be a question. I mean, I don't know, but,
And maybe something you have to chat with Adam.
yeah, I mean, I'll ask him. I mean, I don't know. It's-
yeah.
Yeah. Or
So-
Jack.
Yeah.
Jack and know what it's all about.
So,
So tomorrow, we'll be up at the transfer station with the annual joint loss inspections, and that's be a good topic for our conversation at that point as well.
yeah.
It's important that we have a safe working environment for our employees and for people that bring stuff into the
Absolutely.
recycling building. And so, sounds to me like we gotta do a little more research into,
Yeah,
What
if
it's
it's all
there for,
internally,
how it works.
if it's all internally structured, it's not, we gotta have cables running out to the old
No.
landfill.
That's,
Then it, you know, it opens up another discussion of, okay, if this is what we need and there's some perception of a problem, what's on the market?
I might do something different. And this has been off for 7 years,
It's been off,
as far as I know.
For how many years? 7?
7, I
only
believe.
7. You stop playing around with this stuff that's been closed, just leave it alone.
Yeah, okay.
uh,
I can do that.
so a couple other things to change subjects here. So one of the articles in the warrant has to do with paper recycling.
Right.
So a week from next Saturday, we're gonna be dealing with that at town meeting.
Yeah.
Do we have all of the information available to have our discussion?
I've been doing a lot of research on that and getting still coming in, trickling in. I have quite a few different emails and current market prices and current documents on market prices, etc. I'm still waiting for a response from Waste Management on transportation costs and container costs. I had some emails from NRA on transportation and container costs. We can get through it, but it's not.
Well, we are gonna be meeting a week from Friday as our final meeting before town meeting. And might that be a time that you wanna sit with us and make sure we have all the information that we need to?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's gonna be
The 16th?
a little late with
So
that.
14.
14.
Yeah,
Oh.
right. Yeah, we were Friday, we were Friday, yeah.
Okay.
So, I assume we're meeting at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to do that here instead of the town offices, or what are you doing?
I don't know that we need to have a big public meeting. I mean, Joel will be there to record it, but it's pretty much a work session for
Yeah,
organizing our presentation of the warrant.
well, yeah. It is, but it's replacing our next Monday meeting,
Oh, right.
so,
Okay.
yeah, we probably ought to do it here.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
just-
The other thing that you need to ask Waste Management when you're talking to them is they must, in their enormous corporate structure, have done a study which would tell you reasonably accurately, if you have 10 tons of municipal solid waste, how much of that is paper?
Yeah.
You know, what is the average, I mean, how much can you expect to reduce that number by recycling paper? I mean, there are other towns that are recycling paper. So have they reduced their waste stream by 1% or 10% or 3% or what is it? So that because the other part of this is you're gonna come up with a cost to do it, which is gonna add to your municipal solid waste budget, your transfer station budget. But part of that's gonna get offset by reducing the waste stream that's going off to turnkey. So it'd be nice to have that calculation somewhere. I mean, I know you can't be accurate about it, but
Yeah,
at
too
least
much, yeah.
some kind of an estimate on that part of it.
Yeah, you know, it costs, I mean, their recycling paper is paying like $1.08 a ton.
Yeah,
It's costing $238 a ton to get rid of it.
yeah.
So it's highly ineffective cost-wise to recycle paper. It's
The
$49.
one thing that comes to my mind is that the recycling of paper, in this case particularly, it's almost an emotional issue rather than a
Correct.
financial one for a lot of people.
Totally.
It's a feel-good,
It-
we're
it
doing
is.
something.
And that's why we put it on the warrant.
Right.
And
And
we want to identify
we show every aspect of
the
it.
additional cost
Yep.
to the town to doing it. And if town meeting decides that it's something that we want to do, then we'll build that into next year's budget and we'll start doing it and paying the additional cost because it's important to the residents to do it.
And some of the things you do, we have a welfare budget.
Mhm.
You can't run a welfare budget from a capitalist model, which is
Right.
what we've been doing with the transfer station for a long, long time. And so there is a social aspect of this
There's a lot.
that is,
Right.
you know, what's good for the environment versus how much is it gonna cost?
Right,
Right.
right.
Okay.
So, do you want to come in, do you want him first on the agenda, or I'll just get back to him on his time for Friday?
So we're not meeting Monday?
We're not meeting Monday. Guy is not here on Monday.
Okay.
So, and we chose not to meet without Guy next Monday, correct?
Transfer station
Yes.
is closed on Friday, so we can put him anywhere
Yeah.
we want, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
First things probably.
yeah,
What's good for you?
That would be good, because I try to work on Friday.
You what?
Try to work on Friday.
Well, we think, hopefully you work when you come to work for us as well.
I try to.
So you'll let me know what time's good for you?
First thing is perfect.
First thing, 9
Yeah.
a.m.? Okay.
And the swap shop's going okay?
Delightful.
Good.
Yeah.
They got their whole system.
Like,
Yeah, they did great up there. Yeah,
good.
yeah, it was great. They were very busy.
Yeah, I saw it
Yeah,
up there yesterday.
very busy.
Swapping and shopping.
Yep,
Swap and shopping.
yep. All right, anything more for
Yeah.
Chris?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, let's move on to the signature file. First item, I got an intent to cut for 16-2-11.
I'll make a motion to sign.
second?
Favor?
Aye.
Aye, and opposed? have a request from the Snowmobile Club for permission to replace gates on snowmobile trails at the road crossings at Federal Corner Road, Ledge Hill Road, North Line Road, and Dame Road. This is a,
Are there gates? There aren't gates there now.
It's a grant to help them pay for the changing of them.
what he's requesting, he's going to the state requesting grant funding for replacing grates, which suggests to me that there are gates existing on those trails. I'm not a snowmobile, so I don't know.
I don't know, I drive by the Ledge Hill Road crossing every day. Right? I haven't seen a gate. So I'm not sure.
I've done it almost every day, except for the days when I have meetings, because I'm working in Freedom, and I've never seen a gate there.
So it's, I guess the question in my mind is, are we instituting gating, or are we replacing something that once existed? What's the,
Well, all I have to go on is the request
right?
email.
No, I'm not expecting you
Yep,
to answer
no,
the
and
question.
that clearly suggests that they're seeking to replace existing or former gates at those 4 locations. So, and
Because I know there was some chat about not wanting four-wheelers to use the trails, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, but that was on Sandy Knoll. I think that was the, that was the discussion there. I mean, I'm a little reluctant to, without a little more explanation, reluctant to block off access for other uses, whether it's mountain bikes or whatever it might be.
There is a phone number that he said you're welcome to call him to ask questions. He does have a short time span, May
Yeah,
7th, he has to have it in because of the grant.
yeah. Oh, all right, I see that. So do you have it there? Can you see if you can get him on the phone?
Sure. I don't have the number.
And while you're working on that, we can go on to emergency operations plan that Chief brought us last time. Did everybody have a chance to look it over?
I did.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll
so
make a motion that we sign that emergency management.
I'll second.
let's see, emergency operations plan, yep, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mind sending that over.
Yeah,
Is there,
I think the only place we signed it is on that first page.
no, I have to sign. How come you're at the bottom?
Hi, this is Kyle.
We do have another,
And what
Hi,
is
this is
this?
Town
Yeah.
of Tuckahoe.
Sure.
The selectmen are in a meeting and they have some questions about the snowmobile crossing dates. Okay, hang on 1 second. Do you want it on speaker?
yeah,
Can you hear us, Kyle? Kyle? Can you hear? Okay.
so good morning, Kyle, Bill Markison, and I have Guy Pike and Chip Albee with me, and your request for gating, and the question came up, if these are new gates where we had no gates before, or if they are replacements.
They are replacing some very old ones
why we
But
don't see
they're at the
them.
crossing where the snowmobile crossing is like by the corner road of the power line and all that.
And those gates, the purpose of the gates is what?
It is to prevent like real traffic or jeeps or whatever to go down the trail as per request of the landowners.
So these are trails that are for use by snowmobiles and foot traffic only?
Yeah.
So I guess I live on Ledge Hill Road. I don't ever remember there being a gate there at the crossing by the power substation.
There is one on the North Line Road side, and we are putting a new one on the other side as per request of ANHAC.
Right. So that's Ann's land there that crosses?
Yeah, and owns on the other side across from the power station.
Right. I guess my concern is that I understand the motivation to keep vehicular traffic out of there, which is probably a good thing. But the recreational use of the trails, aside from snow machining, how is that going to get impacted?
So the landowners have requested that there be no ATV, dirt bikes, jeeps, and stuff like that on the trails because they do dig up the dirt and all that stuff. And so the best way to do that is to put a gate at an access point such as a trail crossing like this.
Yeah. I guess and I appreciate the keeping the vehicular traffic out of there, but for instance, mountain biking, how is that going to be impacted? I mean, I don't know what these gates look like, so I guess that's the.
They're pretty much just a regular cattle gate. We put one up on Sauer Road near New Road last year, so it's similar to that.
Okay. All right.
And will there be signs that say no ATVs or signs that suggest that they can be used for things other than ATVs?
Yeah, we do have signs from the state that says no ATV, no wheel traffic type of thing, but mountain bikes are accepted. Foot traffic's accepted. The posts that we're going to be putting in with these gates are going to be telephone poles, so there'll be plenty of real estate for these signs.
Okay. So basically what the intent is to prevent powered wheeled traffic on the trails during the summertime, or during the non-snow season, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So somebody riding a person-powered bicycle, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, and
Yeah,
this is
they don't dig up the trails quite as much as the powered.
Right. Yep.
so you have the homeowner buy-in on all of these settings?
Yeah.
Okay. So the landowner's driving the bus and we don't have any maintenance issues and the only other caveat I'd have would be as long as they're not into the road right of way and might affect the operation of the road agent, and I'm sure they won't be, but it had to be said.
No, they'll be far enough away that snow maintenance won't be an issue. They'll open into the trail instead of into the road, obviously.
Okay.
Great.
Any other questions?
No question.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
All right. So it looks like this is a one signature document.
I'll make a motion if the chair sign that particular.
I'm in total disagreement with it, so
Okay.
I can't make that second.
All right. So I will second that. And your disagreement is,
We dirt bikers have fought with the Wolfboro Snowmobile Club for years, and we do much less damage than they do. The tops of some of these hills are totally bald from snowmobiles running over in the dirt. Our dirt bike trail was 4 inches wide and always has been. The snowmobile club enlisted Fred Sargent to go down to the Cold Brook and make a cut out of the bank that's 12 feet deep and cause more erosion problems than our dirt bikes ever did. And also, if there's room enough to get a mountain bike through, a dirt bike will go through, like it or not. So that's my argument for that.
And I don't think I'm in full agreement with the notion that a dirt bike can get onto that trail. But I don't think they're the operators that the Snow Machine Club is intending to impact. Secondly, I think if there are enough people who want to ride dirt bikes out there, they need to form a group like the Snow Machine Club so that they have a little more political impact. Because I think that if you were to talk to Ann Hackle, for instance, she may be in total agreement with you about use of that corridor underneath the power line. But I don't think she's been asked. That's just my comment on it.
I know she hasn't been asked,
Yeah.
and I would not be the one to do that, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, I'm
We don't have a good relationship.
So one of the things, yeah, and one of the things that happens with respect to snow machine trails and clubs is that the clubs tend to police the use of the trails so that bad actors it kind of becomes self-regulated, as I understand it. Whereas if it's a free-for-all out there, total free-for-all, then the likelihood that some of these places will continue to be open goes down because of it's very difficult dealing with the bad actors.
I'm not going to continue that conversation
Well,
because I don't think. I mean, they have a good tendency, but they also have a not so good tendency. I mean, for instance, you can't register your snow machine without being a member of a club.
Right.
I see that as total overreach. But that's not an argument that I'm going
Well,
I-
actually,
I
you
have
can,
a-
but you pay more money.
to. Yeah, I don't have a snow machine, so it doesn't really affect me. But. Hey, so made and seconded.
Yep.
I think it's
All right.
gonna happen.
Right, we can
Yep.
vote?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay,
3-2 vote. I like those.
yeah.
2-1 vote?
I don't like 2-1. It is 2-1 though, isn't it?
Yep.
It's a math.
Quite so.
Yep.
I don't like that so. So there are 2 places on here.
Yes.
That you need to sign
You'll have to sign it.
alone, and then there's one that you go through and go after.
All right. Thank you for pointing that out. All right.
I don't know how you got on the bottom of that list, but you did.
All right. That's,
I think I had
Yes.
the top one.
huh? There's, so I guess there's one here that I need to sign too. There's only one selectman, yeah. All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, I got a couple of action items.
Yeah, I thought those were in last week, but I didn't see anything in the minutes that they were addressed, so that's why I put them back in there.
Well, there was nothing in, the memo from the town clerk was not in the, we didn't have it last week. So there was a reference to the request, but we didn't have the request in front of us.
Oh, okay.
So this is, American Legion is requesting $800 to $900 to help replace the veteran flag markers in the cemeteries.
Is that in excess of the 1,500 that we have budgeted to give them every year?
It is.
Okay.
So we've already
So
given
we-
them the $1,500?
We did give them the 1,500, I think we signed that check last week.
I believe so.
So that's the annual ask.
They
This-
usually do this on their own, but due to funding restraints, they're asking for help from the towns this year. I don't know if it had to do with COVID or what the reason is, but according to Jen, it was, they always did it at their expense, and now they're,
They want to get reimbursed.
They're asking for some money help.
assistance, yeah.
Well, area-
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I did not speak with them, so I don't know the whole story.
Right.
um,
So.
I guess as an American Legion member, I'm asking for help from the town.
Uh-huh.
I've not been made aware of any constraints or why they would be doing it.
Is that, okay, so explain to me what it is that they're replacing.
So there are, what the Legion does is they have veterans markers and flags in the cemeteries for the local veterans. And my understanding is that's what they're looking for help doing, is replacing either missing or damaged markers and, the little flags they put on don't last forever. And there's some urgency to his request, and I assume that's because they want to get it done before Memorial Day.
I'm looking at $27,111 in cemetery restoration and maintenance, those two lines. And I would think, I'm not personally interested in sending more money to charitable agencies or agencies lines, but I think it would qualify under the cemetery restoration maintenance. What think you?
I think patriotic purposes is where it should be.
Mhm.
And also, as we know, as a Board of Selectmen, we have no authority to spend cemetery funds. We'd have to take that to the cemetery
Well, no,
trustees.
I'm not saying that.
I know. I'm saying for the
that's
general
where we
public.
should go.
That is one place where money could come from. As a Legion member, I had no indication that they wanted anything extra or they would need it. I will say that there does, on occasion, come up a new resting place that needs a marker. For example, this weekend when we laid Uncle Bill to rest, he'll need one. I wasn't aware that they were in such bad shape, especially in Tuftonboro, that they would need to be replaced or anything more than a couple of additional ones. And traditionally, the $1,500 we give them goes to the replacing of the flags and
So
replacing.
now we're talking about $2,000 worth of flag replacement.
Or a little more, actually,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be, and markers. Which I believe the request is for markers as well. Can you read that again, Bill?
Yeah. He has a request for $800 to $900 to help replace the veterans flag markers which are damaged in the local cemeteries.
Okay, that's not specific to Tuftonboro,
No,
and it's not 800, or it's not 900, it's 82900.
right,
So that's not specific either.
no.
So is it we just pick a number and?
Does it say who the person is that she spoke?
Huh?
Does it say who she spoke with?
Oh, Harold Chamberlain, who's the head of the Legion chapter in Wolfboro. He came in apparently and talked with Jen.
Is the memo from Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'd like a little more information on exactly what Tuftonboro's portion of this should be, if that's actually what they expect to get from Tuftonboro, or what it is. I don't know, I can't imagine. We've got
Don't know
that.
how much these things cost, don't know how many.
I actually purchased one myself
Yeah,
for a grave that a citizen had noticed had never had one, which should have, and it was $23 for the one I got. put the flag on it myself. That was through the cemetery trustees. I just did it because it was a personal friend.
Mhm.
So we need to know how many in Tufton Road.
I'd like to know more about it, wouldn't you?
Yes. And,
Unless he wants to ask somebody else. And I'm suggesting he ask but I think if he asked the cemetery trustees, Mrs. Weeks would probably say the same thing that we're saying. Is it 8? Is it 9?
Right.
How many are you doing?
I would
Right.
agree.
right,
We need a little, I'd like more information.
yeah.
Hi, Jen, it's Kathy. Okay, did you want to talk to her?
Huh?
Did you want to talk to Jen?
Sure, that's fine.
Just find out if Harold gave her any more
So we're
specific.
trying to get some more information on the monies for the American Legion. So hang on a minute. Well, you're saying you wanted questions, so I figured.
Right. Hi, Jen.
Hello, how's it going?
Great. So apparently Harold Chamberlain came in and talked with you about
Yeah,
some additional money for the Legion beyond what we give them every year.
well, that's what I was under the impression that he needed additional money. But then when he was here, Diane came out and said, oh, we haven't sent that money yet because we're waiting for town meeting. And we will be sending that after the town meeting. He's like, oh, well, if we have that money, we would be okay. So I think he's really looking for what the town would normally give him. It's just, they haven't received it yet.
Oh, all right. Well, and I think we took care of that last week.
My recollection is we signed
Yeah.
that check.
Yeah, all right. So this isn't additional, this is just,
Yeah, I think he just was looking for funds because they didn't have any money. But once Diane said that, so if she took care of it already, I'm sorry, I did not check with her to see if she's done that.
well,
But,
we wouldn't need to. So,
no,
all right.
yeah.
Thank you.
So if you send that out, then he should be fine.
Yeah, all right. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
I was not updated on that.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry.
moving right along.
Moving along. All right.
Those are all the action items.
Yeah, so we got Boston Post King. We have a list of the oldest local residents
Yeah, I had asked Jen about that.
Yep. that we know about. And I would suggest that we approach the oldest person on the list and look at awarding the cane to them. It's kind of been hanging in limbo for a couple of years since the last
Silent time, right?
recipient passed.
So, yeah, should we have Kathy give them a call?
Yeah,
Okay.
Might I know who it is?
Yeah, we'll send it down. I don't want to put it out there in the
Yeah, I don't
air.
think-
Right, no, I'm just
yeah,
interested,
yeah,
yeah.
no, and it's, I just don't,
Yep, fine, great. Yeah, I
I
would
don't
say,
wanna put somebody on the spot
No, no,
by
let's
talking about it before.
get in touch
we
with whomever we have to,
touch with them.
see
Yeah.
about awarding.
All right. So I think that's what we have for action items, correspondence. We have a proclamation from the governor that this is Municipal Clerks Week, May 2nd through the 8th. And we should have wished Jen a happy week.
Maybe we should send it FTD, pick me up the bouquet.
Yeah, there you go. And then a copy of the update email with respect to grant funding. This is, I don't know if you've seen that. Chief Shigori has completed methamphetamine awareness. And then there's a copy of the 2015 update of the hazard mitigation plan, which is under review for update.
And I'll speak
now.
about that soon.
Yeah.
360.
Yep. So approximately 360, and she'll know more when they
Right.
sort it all out. So I thought that was,
And who's getting back to her? Is that the chief?
yeah,
Okay, because.
Chief and Phil's been working on with her.
Okay.
some back and forth
Because
there.
all she has to do is read the warrant article, and she can figure out where the money's coming from.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
He
and-
did
and-
answer
and-
her.
and
He
yes,
did answer.
he's provided the answer to that already,
okay,
so. All right, Selectmen's update.
Well, I'll go.
Yep,
I did attend the hazard mitigation meeting. Everyone was present except for the school representative and the road agent. The meeting went quite well, with the exception of the fact that on some of the updated stuff that needed to be reported on, the road agent wasn't there to do it. So the fire chief was going to track down the road agent and get his responses to the blank spots, so to speak. And on the 27th, when we meet again, we'll be able to fill those in. Beyond that, there were some updates that were suggested in that plan that were taken care of. A couple of them turned out to be moot points. And again, we're waiting on information from the road agent, but at the next meeting, we'll continue on. I find it very interesting that the Lakes Region Planning Commission is running this. That would be the same Lakes Region Planning Commission that couldn't do a master plan update for us in a timely and efficient manner. I hope they can do a better job with this.
yep,
and they're not a monolith. They did a good job on culverts, a good job on paving,
They did.
so.
Let's hope that we can do a good job with this one.
yep.
That's all I have. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I lied. I am bound by marital status to attend my sister's funeral in Hungary. She is my sister-in-law. I'll be gone from June 11th to June 17th. If I looked at the modified schedule, it doesn't look like I'll miss any meetings. I will be back in time for the Friday meeting that we had already rescheduled. Maybe you would throw a work session in there, but I'm sure you can do without me for that short time.
Okay,
But
all right,
I am going. I've
Yeah.
been informed.
all right, okay, well,
Sorry for her loss.
Yeah, well, thank you.
All right.
Chip?
Continue to work a little bit as I can on the presentation for the grant and write. I gave you a copy of,
Stuff you got from Jackie?
stuff that Jackie gave me, that she found at the Historical Society.
Yep.
Newspaper articles from the 30s. And I'm gonna spend some time, probably not today, but tomorrow and Wednesday, on old town reports. I've got a draft on my computer of, what I'm kind of foreseeing is that we'll construct a handout that will, maybe bound handout for each of the governor council members, or executive council members, that just delineates our position, gives some maps, a couple of those items, maybe a town report or two that illustrates the amount of money over time that's been spent and the effort over time. And a cover letter, which get back to that, is just an overall position of where we are, trying to figure out how 19 Mile Bay was forgotten when the state did their initial walk around the lake to give grants and rate. And hopefully that along with Tyler and Pelletier will walk them through the process. And
How far back do you figure to go with Tommy? Just
I'm hoping to
curious.
get into the 1870s.
Okay. I only have him back to 1902, so I won't be able to help you there.
Well, if there's nothing on television and you want to read through a few of those old ones, that would.
I will. There is
Actually,
nothing on television.
30 and 31 were operative years, I think, with regard to these newspaper articles. So there may have been budget items.
I'll look back with what I've got for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these articles here dated 1931,
Yeah.
the writer talks about remembering this 1931, 60 years or more ago, work that was going on the wharf. So this would have been 1870.
Somewhere in there.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
60s.
As thick as those old town reports are, I can go through from 1902 to 1931 and show it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good, oh, that's excellent. I don't know, have you talked to Sue Weeks at all about any information she might have?
I haven't talked to Sue, no, but I did talk, obviously, to Jackie.
Yep.
I don't know if they're still talking, but,
Well,
Sometimes.
they talk as much as they ever do, but
yeah.
Right, but-
No, I'll
They're-
definitely reach out to
Yeah.
Susie.
she does have a lot of,
Oddly enough, she comes up with some things.
well, it's not odd. She's
She's
studied
there.
it her whole life, and she's
Yep.
hangs on to this stuff, so that's good.
And just a reminder, hopefully we can vote on it at some point to the non-public.
Yeah, my intention is after this meeting to go down and start looking through this. It shouldn't take
Yeah.
too long.
No, it shouldn't take long.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
That's about it.
So, this week, planning board, the regular planning board meeting we'll have a continuation of the public hearing on the cell tower down on Tufton Neck. I believe the independent engineer's report may be back, which is one of the stipulations that the planning board placed on the application. I think that's the bulk of the work for Thursday night. The master plan steering committee sent me a draft of a note that they wanted to go out to all departments and committees, advising them of the work that was going on and the fact that they might be coming to different groups and asking for some input and that sort of thing. And Gary sent it to me the other day, and I didn't forward it to you yet. So it looks pretty reasonable in terms of just making people aware that it's going on and asking for any cooperation in doing their work. I did have a couple of questions come up with respect to cemeteries. And one was just an observation in the town office that during the warmer months, particularly this time of year, there are a lot of people that walk in that are interested in finding the graves of their ancestors or loved ones that might be in the townhouse cemetery. And so having an up-to-date chart or something in the office is helpful in steering people toward.
We do have a map of the newer section,
Yeah.
and there should be a copy of the cemetery book in the town office. And that really delineates as much as possible what's in the older section of the townhouse cemetery and most of the cemeteries. Now, there is one section out there that is so old that the stones are either falling over or you can't read them.
Right.
Obviously, they're not going to get to that point. But if there isn't a copy of that book there should be. And that would actually list by name and give a map and the whole 9 yards there. So
Okay.
if there isn't one, I'll try to see that we get one in there.
Is that the green one?
Yes.
Yeah, we do have one.
Yeah, if they come in, that's the best reference we can give them on the older sections. On the new section,
And we do have maps on the new section.
Right.
I don't know who requested it, but I've pulled them out before and
Yep.
researched things.
Okay.
but the
But I
book has really
worked
got
with-
a pretty comprehensive,
On the
he's only
older
done a
section,
couple of
right.
new burials over in the older, not oldest, but the older section.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of the cemeteries, did they hire a sexton?
Not yet, we haven't found anybody come forward. Sue and I went out and laid out a plot for a burial that took place last week. And meanwhile, our maintenance man is working there, as I was mentioning. He found a missing stone. Someone thought it had been stolen. It's underground basically now. Called me just before I came in, but we haven't found anyone yet. But we're able to handle it at the moment ourselves. So it's working out.
So another cemetery-related question that somebody asked me about, and I'll pass it along to the
Sure.
trustees, is Just an observation that it seems like the grass in the townhouse cemetery has been going downhill over the last.
The turkeys have been out there just digging like no one's.
Yeah,
And again, I had a discussion yesterday, actually, with the maintenance man. He goes in and drives them off as best as he can, but this is a common problem now everywhere, not just in the townhouse cemetery.
ah,
And I don't know what to do about it.
Well, back when I was here, I remember Jack had somebody, used to have someone out there that used to treat the grass, and we had gotten a really good price on it.
That was True Green,
Yeah,
who basically destroyed the grass out there at one point in time by fertilizing during the driest time of the year, and it burned it all. And we are not using those services anymore. We could look into looking at it again for possibly for grub control, but I'm not sure it's going to stop the turkeys from digging. I'm not sure that they're digging for grubs or anything, but turkeys are a real issue,
well,
and we're aware of it.
but,
But I'll bring it up
if
again.
they're digging, it's because there's something to eat in it.
it's
I think
grubs.
so. And,
Grubs, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So I'll
Jack
bring
says
that
the
up.
grubs are terrible.
yeah.
I'll bring it up definitely tomorrow night.
All right, I don't think I have anything else.
Do we have
Do we have any other business?
any non-public that we need?
I'm not doing that.
No. Do we have any Joe input?
No, we do not. Other than, no, I have nothing. Just, like,
All right,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
thank you.